Hello, everyone. We have Dr. Loomstein and, of course, your host, Dr. Carolina Billings. We are here to speak about the end of year because it's a time of anxiety. It's like once the holidays come, we can like breathe. But prior to that, it's just anxiety, insanity, pressure, and it's just not fun. So, welcome, Dr. Loomstein.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Billings. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, you are Sanity. Not only do you do incredible work with medicine, frequency medicine, but you're also a PhD in psychology.
Yes.
So you know from thought, heart, gut, how all of these impacts us and why do we continue to put ourselves through it?
We want to believe that the next time we meet with our families, it will be the Waltons. And for those of you who don't know what the Waltons are, it was a TV show back in the 80s and the 90s, I think. And it was just the perfect family.
Yeah.
And that doesn't exist.
Everything got sorted out in 60 minutes.
Right. In fact, if you go back to the 60s, everything got sorted out in 30 minutes.
Mm,
Right. Then it
wow.
went to 60 minutes. And there's another element, and you and I were just talking about this off air, um, about the time people have from the day we enter school, and now sometimes it's preschool till we get out. We always look forward to Christmas
Yeah. The
because
Christmas
Christmas,
break.
right?
Yeah.
The
Is
Christmas break. It was
mhm.
it was a happy time, and I was reminiscing with my grandchildren that that this year Christmas comes on the best day, which is Thursday, because they're not going to have school on Monday and Tuesday. We used to work on that. Boy, if it came on a Wednesday or a Thursday, that was great. Friday, not so great. But Wednesday or Thursday, we always got more time off. And
Yeah.
we look forward to that. And we remember those were happy feelings. Now
Yeah.
as we got older, maybe not, but there's always Christmas is a time, peace on earth and goodwill toward man. No matter what religion you are, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
And you also can't argue with the hope that it brings. That maybe this year it will be different.
That's
But if
right.
you want to survive, you need to learn how to survive when you go
Ooh,
with the
okay.
family. Right.
Okay. So
And
building boundaries is
absolutely.
yeah, is in my opinion the way to survive, right? It's better to be happy than right when it comes to getting together and getting into topics. In Canada we're a bit more subdued when it comes to global events per se. We don't seem to uh, engage as much as you guys do in the US. Not to say that we don't have our own version of stress and our own, self-induced chaos. And even Christmas mass, there's a bit of a ongoing joke that the priest always says, there's so much singing and love and everything is beautiful in the building. And he always says, okay, let's make sure this good feeling doesn't go away in the parking lot, trying to get out. Right? And yeah,
And that's the same in the Jewish religion too. If you got this feeling, why can't it carry over?
yeah.
Um,
Well, would it
and
be realistic though for us to, because if a high is a high all the time, then it's not a high, right? It's a normal. If that makes sense.
is it a high that the priest is talking about or the rabbi's talking about, or is it really just treating people with respect and love? it isn't necessarily going to give you a high. But the question is, do I need to be involved in your issue? It's not open to me. It's not important to me. Nor if I'm going to sit and talk about uh, what's happening in this country, and I know that it makes me upset. I don't talk
To
about it.
yeah, to not correct. And but some people get upset not talking about it, right? It's almost, their need to process, like
Yes,
they are needing, because the minute they talk about it, they feel better, right? Like it's their release.
always better to talk about it, and I will talk about it.
Oh,
And
we do have our visitor here. Hang on.
there he is. Hello, Dr.
Let
Lemon.
us fit you
Hello.
in. Dr. Lemmon, let's just change the banner. How are you? How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you.
We were just speaking about the holidays and why do we put ourselves through such heartache and chaos when it's supposed to be a beautiful time of the year?
Hmm.
What is your experience? Dr. Lemon, you are in Atlanta, Georgia. And what is the mood like now?
Yeah, my newly married daughter just arrived last night from being out in college, and so yeah, we're just having a joyful reunion with her this morning, and my new son-in-law. So that's been fun. Yeah, there can be a lot of bittersweet around the holidays for sure, but yeah, we just try to point it towards the light and the happiness and the family and just getting together and sharing that time together. So yeah, it
So
can.
you both are two of my favorite collaborators. I mean, I like everyone, otherwise I wouldn't collaborate with them. But I love talking to you guys because you help us understand that whatever we're feeling is real and it has consequences, like lasting consequences, right?
Fasting.
And his feelings and thoughts and all things, we grew up, we're all relatively close in age, and we grew up. I don't know about you, but I'm of the generation that, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And oh my word, do we know that that is not the case? Do we now know better? So let us know, let our audience and friends know the stress over the holidays. How does that transform into our body? And what can we do? What can we do to survive and thrive at a time when we're supposed to be celebrating? Dr. Lemon, I'll let you uh, get us started.
Yeah, we just really need that continued self-care. Just it's so hard to be sleep deprived or to let diet go so much, and but that continued self-care, taking a few minutes to take some deep breaths, some meditation,
Mhm.
some healthy nourishing food, or getting an
So
hour
letting go.
in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
want to, I want, before we go too far, letting go. That thought that is, oh, it's the holidays. I'm going to drink more. I'm going to eat more. I'm going to sleep less. Exactly what you're saying. We think we are giving us a break, but
yeah,
really, we're not.
yeah. It can make the stress even worse when we don't have that resilience and that consistency and that self-care built into our routine. So yeah, it can be challenging for sure.
For sure. Dr. Loomstein?
I think the best thing that you can do, along with what Dr. Lemon said, which is hydrate and stay on your diet and get sleep. If you're going home, and I put that in air quotes, home for the holiday, learn how to separate. Learn how to keep yourself separate from your family. And keep
Mm.
one thing in mind. Nobody, but I mean nobody, ever had a happy childhood. It doesn't exist.
Oh my
And so,
word.
and so if
You're
you're
gonna have
going
to
to,
elaborate that.
well, I will. Nobody, we all have a fantasy about what a childhood ought to be,
Mhm.
but we had to learn rules. We had to learn boundaries. We had to learn what we could and couldn't say. And those kinds of things stay with us. So if you're going home looking for the childhood that you thought you had, but you didn't, that's a stressor.
Yeah.
And so you can spend your life trying to make your family of origin, your family you're going home to, um, become what you wanted it to be when you were a kid, but it wasn't.
Mm.
And then if you're going to your in-laws and then you're mixing families, there's so many booby traps there that it's just best to separate. Built, put up a boundary, and I am not going to succumb to
Yeah.
this. I'm not going to let myself go and end up having one night really, really nice Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or Christmas night, and then I'm going to suffer for it for the rest of the week. How am
Yeah.
I going to suffer for it? Well, as Dr. Lemmon knows, you get a headache, you get a stomach ache, you get all kinds of symptoms. And then you got to realize if I have those symptoms, where did they come from? How did I get them?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it's the awareness, like listen to
Right.
your body, right?
It's creating awareness about your environment.
Yeah. And in some, like when I go home, which for the holidays, which it's not as often as I would like to, because it conflicts with the holidays here in Canada and all of that. What I find is I find myself regressing. I am the youngest of my family, right? And all of a sudden, they are treating you like they used to treat you, like
Right.
they do not trust you with responsibility. I remember, visiting the holidays and we're making, plans for that dinner. And I said, oh, I'll pick up the wine, right? Like I'll be on wine duty. And my brother, bless his heart, well, he's a lawyer too, so there's some explanation there. But my brother is saying, "Oh no, you'll just forget." I was like, "No, I'm not going to forget." He says, "You always forget." Okay, I'm in my 40s or 50s. Like, I think I can handle the wine, right? And it's because they remember you being a kid, because there's 10 years difference between us. And I do find, like, before you know it, you start behaving like they're expecting you to behave, right? Is that so? It's a funny thing. And I did have, and you and I are going to have to follow up this conversation with another session, Dr. Loomstein, because I did have an actual very happy childhood. But I do find you forget, especially if you don't live near your family, if you don't see them often enough, you forget you're all changing, right? Like I look at my nieces and nephews, it's like, what do you mean you're in your 20s? What do you mean you're in your 30s, right? So you figure they've changed, but you forget that you've changed, right? And it's allowing that new you to just enjoy it for what it is. You know what I mean? Like a celebration of family, celebration of love. And they probably don't know anything about your current life, especially not the day to day, right? Especially if you don't all live, in close proximity. And just give yourself and your family grace and not take things personally because, everybody's just under the same anxiety or the same, rushing or I don't know. I just think we need to forget. We need to look forward to the holidays and we need to forget because and we're going to talk about these because the holidays, be it Hanukkah or be it Christmas or anything you celebrate, is followed but what has proven to be the most depressing time of the year, which is January, followed by, February, if you're not, into Valentine's and all that. So it's like the highest of high, followed by the lowest of low, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere where we don't see the sun for weeks on end, right? This is where your communities of practice, which I am so excited to talk about, come into play, because this is about lifestyle. Well, I'll let you both, the experts, tell us about the importance of integration and habit, the forming of new habits. So, Dr. Loomstein, if you want us to get us started, and then Dr. Lemmon.
I'll just say one thing. Your brother didn't forget
He didn't forget what?
about the wine.
Oh,
And that is what gets people. That's the hook. It's an unconscious process that's a dynamic of your family. And once you can recognize that, you can separate yourself and build that boundary.
I wish we all could kind of get to know each other as friends. You know what I mean? Like, forget the rules that we have as family and just get to know each other as adults and friends. But anyways, we digress. We were in communities of practice.
Let Dr. Lemmon go first. I want to hear because he works with cancer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
That's important.
So yeah, there's been just a lot of amazing studies with some of the cancer support groups where there's a clinic that was called Commonweal, where they had a lot of women would come for cancer support groups, and just through the camaraderie and the unity and the sharing of the real emotions, not hiding anything, not putting on a face for their family and friends, but just being able to be real and raw and supportive of that true raw emotion, that these women with breast cancer that were in a supportive community and group would live up to 50% longer than those with similar breast cancer that didn't participate in that community, that support group for cancer. So it's an incredible healing force in and of itself, just to have that circle of like-minded friends that are in that non-judgmental space of community and sharing. So that's a really beautiful aspect of the community of practice, to have that camaraderie, that respect, that understanding that we're coming from the same place, the same direction, and having that non-judgmental listening ear to really hear and experience one another's journeys as they go along. So the support group, the community of practice, we get together for Q&A, live Q&A with me once a month to answer questions about health, about how the cells work, how the 7 pathways of healing work. And then there's the on-demand portion of the video course that explains the 7 pathways of healing and all the hundreds and hundreds of different remedies in the energetic pathway, or the spiritual pathway, or the genetic pathway, or the physical or molecular pathway that are healing and supportive for cancer care, whether you're using an oncologist for integrative care, or whether you're just doing fully natural cancer treatments. Either way, the same kind of therapies and the same kind of support are available through that education and through that community support.
Brilliant. You know what I love about it is that it's not only people who are living the same experience, right, that of the diagnosis, but also their support system. We strongly recommend that the support system, their support person, their support system joins as well, because you, especially if you've never experienced it yourself, you may listen to your loved one and not understand. You may think that it's an isolated, that this is something they're going through, or or they may not be able to to articulate what they're going through emotionally and spiritually and all of that. But when they join a community of practice and they meet other people with a diagnosis and other people that have the support, that are the support person, they are able to understand what your loved one might be going through, because they may be able to explain it in a different way, or even sharing solutions that they have found that you wouldn't have thought about it, right? And it's so important what you just said, the non-judgment, right? Because a diagnosis, I've been blessed that I have not had cancer close to me, but I have it from a family perspective, but I have had friends that have gone through it, and their dignity takes a toll as well, right? Is more than you're not just fighting the body, you're fighting your mind, you're fighting your spirit, you're fighting the memory of the person you used to be before this diagnosis. And in many cases, you become the diagnosis, right? And even with diabetes, you work with a lot of diabetes, Dr. Loomstein. It's like, you know, I know from being having been close and having had people close to me with such chronic illness, that we even learning the proper way to speak to them, like, you're not a diabetic, you have diabetes. You know what I mean? Is that you're, you know, you're not a cancer, you're not a cancer, you're a human that is going through the cancer, you know, diagnosis and illness.
Yeah, it's really critical to not identify with it as part of your I am statement, core identity for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's becoming a victim. And if you become
Yeah.
the victim, man, you've lost. I'm sure
Yeah.
you find that with cancer. I did with chronic pain. I did that with breast implant ladies. We're all victims. I said, you're not a victim. You can play that role if you want, or you can say, I'm going to get better, whichever one you want to do, but it's your choice. You have a choice of whether being a victim or not. And the people who choose not to be a victim are the ones who really get better the fastest.
I read a quote that if you see yourself as a victim, eventually you become your own oppressor.
I believe that.
Yeah. And when I read it, was like, ouch. So it's so important. And you know what I love about both of you, that you are both successful clinicians and practitioners, and really, you know, having these communities of practice is above and beyond. This is really social impact, because this is not about the complex, you know, medical conversation and medical dialogue, right? This is about the human dialogue in the human experience, and that is really the ought to be the not just the future but the present of medicine, not just pop a pill. Dr. Lumstein?
One of the things that's been coming in the literature that I get shows how this year coming, they're going to pay a lot of attention to the care providers. And when you got somebody who has cancer, more often than not, they need a provider, a helper, a healthcare provider. I'm sorry, not a healthcare worker, but somebody who takes care of the caregivers. They're paying attention to the caregivers now, and they're starting to look at how that affects the outcome of the treatment that the patients are getting.
And that's a hard job.
By treating the caregiver.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They need as much support. You look at nurses and you know, and yeah, is the we forget, right? We forget that the medical profession and the caregiving profession also needs nurturing and care. And that's our job, right? To not forget, and to make sure that they are also celebrated and cared for and nurtured. accordingly. One of the sad things that I observe and participate. I mean, it's easy for us to evaluate. I'm not going to say judge. I'm going to be generous in us. It's easy for us to evaluate our culture as if we're not part of it. I would like to think we're agents of change. And I know, in fact, we are. But during the pandemic, all the jobs that were classified essential services, right? And the unsung heroes that perform those essential services in a culture that we celebrate the shiny and celebrity and, the entertainment factor of it, right? And for a few years, I think 2021, even 22, we held such a respect and high regard for essential services. But it seems that we're beginning to forget and going back to entertain us and entertain us in a terrifying way. I know with social media, and that's a whole complete different conversation because Dr. Lemmon and I have had conversations in regards to the censorship of alternative healing methodologies, right? That you're fighting the algorithm and yes, it's meant to protect people, but in the process, you're also throwing the baby with the bathwater because there is good, solid alternative treatments and alternative advice. It's not even alternative, integral to the traditional protocols, but you get somewhat caught in the algorithm, catch-all, right? In the safety net. So this is why it's important that you do visit the communities of practice. And we are so proud and honored to have such, visionaries as the two of you. Be part of our PWT.Global network and having had, the opportunity to begin, because this is a pilot that we're starting that is long overdue. So you're going to hear us talk a lot more about it. There are more communities of practice because it's all about the daily implementation and execution. It's so hard, especially if you're in an emotional state, like after a diagnosis, be it of yourself or a loved one, that there's all this information that comes your way or that you read or that it becomes overwhelming and you're really not in the cognitive capacity to absorb it. I know actually a lot of nurses and there's a lot of caregivers in law and in medicine that their entire offering, their entire service is to go with patients to see the doctor so that they can hear, right? Because the person that's going through it is in such an emotional state that you may not be hearing things properly or listening to things properly. Correct, especially the vulnerable communities, right? So this is where being able to come on your own time, meeting you live or going after the recordings and do it, asynchronous is such a gift and such an incredible work that many of our mentor experts that are within the healing stream are doing, and we are so extremely proud of them. So, what are your closing words as to? We're going to put the links to how to join both your communities of practice. You, of course, can join our PWT.Global network free, and then you can take a look at all of our offerings and get to know the mentor experts. They're vetted professionals, but you also can hear their lectures. They can see their recordings, their articles in the magazine, and build rapport with them. And that is so powerful.
I always welcome people to contact me
Yes.
and we can talk and see, because it has to be a two-way street. You have to have faith in me, and I have to have faith in you.
Oh, that's so powerful. Yes, Dr. Lemmon?
Yeah, I was just reading on LinkedIn how there was some kind of competition that was publicized where AI was able to diagnose something better than this team of
Oh,
doctors.
my word.
And this doctor was saying, "Hey, wait a minute. There's these other things about human connection An AI can't hold your hand when you have a cancer diagnosis and tell you the news gently and things like that. And so it's interesting, this new world that we're entering in with AI, and thinking that the doctors and therapists are going to be replaced. And so I think we do have to put an even greater value on that human connection, that bedside manner, that eye-to-eye, face-to-face communication, and physical presence and touch is a little bit harder with the distance telehealth sometimes, but just as much as possible, we need to emphasize that human connection and not act like robots and not act like algorithms, because that's the part that AI can't ever outshine.
And
Yeah.
your genuineness comes across.
And not only that, there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think two cancers are the same. Just because
Individual.
no, two individuals are the same.
Right.
So even if they have the same diagnosis, it will show differently. People have different thresholds of pain. People have different fears. People have different, biases, preconceptions. Like, therefore, no two cancers or no two diabeteses are the same. And you shouldn't settle for a one size fits all,
No.
right? We shouldn't. We're better than that. So yeah, so we're starting the year we're expanding our publications so that we're able to really niche down to topics. We're starting the year with our WEFM, our World Organization of Energy and Frequency Medicine magazine, in anthology. And of course, Dr. Lemmon and Dr. Loomstein are our anchors when it comes to being clinicians. We do have many healers, but you guys are really the conduit in between the present and the future with energy and frequency, and the legacy of of medicine, right? Of traditional medicine. So I am so grateful for you guys, and I have learned so much, and I am looking forward to helping connect, right? To helping more people get to know you and more people discover your brilliance. And I know I trust you implicitly. So I thank you. And I look forward to a brilliant 2026 for all of us.
I do also look forward to a brilliant 2026.
Thank you.
Look
Dr.
forward to meeting you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And we will see you soon. Take care.
Thanks.